And you know what time it is? It's time for KP's Video News.
That's right.
KP's Video News, y'all. KP's Video News, y'all.
KP Video News is back, y'all. I've been away. That's right. I've been away. I've been relaxing and got a little bit lazy. Kind of got complacent and decided, well, let me go ahead on and do a show. It's been a while since I've done a show. So, yeah. Shout out to my homeboy Lumumba. This is one of my old co-workers that is from Kenya, and when he went back to Kenya, he brought me back this actually a couple of dashikis. These are handmade dashikis from Kenya, and the kufi, handmade, no labels, nowhere on it. Thanks again, my brother. You know, thanks again, man. I appreciate it. The real deal, folks. The real deal African gear. None of that eBay garbage. Anyway, yeah, folks, I'm here today. I'm here to just do our story. And you know, they say, you know, this is like Black History Month. I'm doing our story. It's our story, our history every day. And but in the spirit of that, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna bring you up on, if you're not up on this particular person, Carter G. Woodson, which was actually the creator of the whole situation. However, let me read his story, then you understand where I'm coming from. Carter G. Woodson, born in 1875, passed away in 1950, was a Black American historian, author, journalist, and the founder of the Association for the Study of African American Life and History. Let me state that again. Carter G. Woodson is the founder of the Association for the Study of African American Life and History. He was one of the first scholars to study the history of the African diaspora, including African American history. A founder of the Journal of Negro History in 1916, Woodson has been called the father of Black history. In 1926, he launched a celebration of Negro History Week, the precursor to Black History Month. So, you know, the guy's a genius, man. He's the ultimate genius. And he has several degrees, and he's just an amazing person, man. Amazing. So he was born in Virginia. He was the son of former slaves, and he had to put off schooling while working in the coal mines of West Virginia. And he graduated from Berea College and became a teacher and a school administrator. He gained graduate degrees at the University of Chicago, and in 1912 was the second African American after W.E.B. Du Bois to obtain a PhD degree from Harvard University. Most of Woodson's academic career was spent at Howard University, a historical Black university in Washington, D.C., where he eventually served as the dean of the College of Arts and Sciences. So his early life and education, like I said, excuse me. They were extremely poor, but they supported the family nonetheless. And they were both proud parents, as both of his parents told him that it was the happiest day of their lives when he became free, and when they became free. Woodson was often unable to attend primary school regularly as to help out on the farm. Nevertheless, through self-instruction, he was able to master most school subjects. At the age of 17, Woodson followed his brother to Huntington, where he hoped to attend a brand new secondary school for black people, Douglas High School. However, Woodson was forced to work as a coal miner, was able to devote only minimum time each year to his schooling. In 1895, the 20-year-old Woodson finally entered Douglas High School full-time and received his diploma in 1897. From 1897 to 1900, Woodson taught at Winona. In 1900, he was selected as the principal of Douglas High School. He earned his Bachelor of Literature degree from Berea College in Kentucky in 1903 by taking classes part-time between 1901 and 1903. From 1903 to 1907, Woodson was a school supervisor in the Philippines. Woodson later attended the University of Chicago, where he was awarded an AB and an AM in 1908. He was a member of the first black professional fraternity, Sigma Pi Phi, and was a member of Omega also. He completed his PhD in history at Harvard University in 1912, where he was the second African American, as I said earlier, to earn a doctorate. His doctoral dissertation, The Disruption of Virginia, was based on the research he did at the Library of Congress while teaching high school in Washington, D.C. After earning the college degree, he continued teaching in public schools, and no university was willing to hire him, ultimately becoming the principal of an all-black Armstrong Manual Training School in Washington, D.C. He later joined the faculty at Howard University as a professor and served there as dean of the College of Arts and Sciences, and his dissertation advisor was Albert Hart, who had been advisor of W.B. Du Bois with Edward Channing and Charles Haskins, also on the committee. Woodson felt that the American Historical Association, the AHA, had no interest in black history, noting that although he was a dues-paying member of the AHA, he was not allowed to attend AHA conferences. Woodson became convinced he had no future in the white-dominated historical profession, and to work as a black historian, he would require creating an institutional structure that would make it possible for black scholars to study history. As Woodson lacked the funds to finance such an institutional structure himself, he turned to the philanthropist institutions such as the Carnegie Foundation, the Julius Rosenwald Foundation, and the Rockefeller Foundation, and they funded him, and he created his own history organization, Black History. So, I mean, he goes all the way back to the Harlem Renaissance and beyond. In 1926, Woodson pioneered the celebration of Negro History Week, designated for the second week in February to coincide with marking the birthdays of Abraham Lincoln and Frederick Douglass. The Black History and the Black United Students and Black educators at Kent State University expanded this idea to include an entire month beginning on February 1st, 1970. Since 1976, every U.S. president has designated February as Black History Month. All right, so that's our History Month, you know. So, I mean, then, you know, I got some facts here that I'm going to throw at you, some history facts, our history facts. And like I said, Black History Month honors the contributions of African Americans to U.S. history. Among prominent figures are Madam C.J. Walker, who was the first U.S. woman to become a self-made millionaire. Of course, you already know about the others like George Washington Carver and Rosa Parks and all of them. Then you got Shirley Chisholm, who was the first African American woman elected to the U.S. House of Representatives. And the Black History Month is a celebration which began, like I said earlier, as Negro History Week, which was created in 1926 by Carter Woodson. And the NAACP, February 12th in 2019, the NAACP marched the 110th anniversary, spurred by growing racial violence in the 20th century, and particularly by 1908 race riots in Springfield, Illinois. A group of African American leaders joined together to form a permanent civil rights organization, the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, sidebar. I wish they would change that to the National Association for the Advancement of Black People. Anyway, that's just my personal opinion. And February 12th, 1909 was chosen because of the centennial anniversary of the birth of Lincoln. So just starting even back then, you can go all the way back to some of the people that were creating history, like Jack Johnson, which became the first African-American man to hold a world title, heavyweight title championship, and he held on to the belt from 1908 all the way to 1915. The first black lawyer, John Mercer Langston, was the first black man to become a lawyer when he passed the bar in Ohio in 1854, when he was elected to the post town clerk of Brownheim, Ohio. In 1855, Langston became one of the first African Americans ever elected to public office in America. You say that again. John Mercer Langston was the first African American ever elected to public office in America. And they don't even teach all this stuff in school. John Mercer Langston was also the great uncle of Langston Hughes, famed poet of the Harlem Renaissance. So we have famous protesters and activists, while Rosa Parks is credited for helping spark the civil rights movement when she refused to give up her seat to a white man in 1955, inspiring the Montgomery bus boycott. However, the lesser-known Claudette Colvin was arrested 9 months prior for not giving up her seat to white passengers. But she didn't go down in history like that. Supreme Court Justice Thurgood Marshall was the first African American ever appointed to the U.S. Supreme Court. He was appointed by Lyndon Johnson and served on the court from 1967 to 1991. And an eminent scientist that we all know about, George Washington Carver, and he had developed over 300 derivative products from peanuts. Among them, cheese, milk, coffee, flour, ink dyes, plastic, wood stain, soap, linoleum, medicinal oils, and cosmetics. All of these things are still used today. And the first senator, Hiram Rose Revels, was the first African American ever elected to the U.S. Senate. He represented the state of Mississippi from February 1870 to March of 1871. And the first woman representative, Shirley Chisholm, was the first African American woman elected to the House of Representatives. She was elected in 1968 and represented the state of New York. She broke ground again 4 years later in 72 when she was the first major party African American candidate and the first female candidate for president of the United States. And like I spoke earlier on Madam C.J. Walker, who was born on a cotton plantation in Louisiana and became wealthy after investing in a line of African American hair care products. Oscar winner in 1940, Hattie McDaniel, was the first African American performer to win an Academy Award in the film industry's highest honor for her portrayal of in Gone with the Wind. And the first African American baseball player, we all know, Jackie Robinson, and he became the first African American baseball player in 1947. The first black millionaire before Oprah Winfrey and Michael Jordan, this is billionaire, joined the Billionaires Club. Robert Johnson became the first African American billionaire when he sold the cable station he founded, BET Television, in 2001. The first black president in 2008, Barack Obama, became the first black president of the United States. This is on to modern history here. The first black president, vice president, in 2021, Kamala Harris became the first woman of African American or Asian descent to become the vice president. And Harris's mother immigrated to the United States from India, and her father immigrated from Jamaica. Population